All right, hello and welcome. I'm sorry, hold on. You're all a bunch of stupid pieces of crap. Everything you do will amount to nothing. I'm trying to follow I made a chart of the 9 events of instruction, and gain attention is the first thing. So stimuli activates the receptors. So you're like, boom, activated. Now this is a problem because why do you need to be activated for your brain to be in learning? So let's get to a place where we're always learning. I don't even know if I'm in a state like that. I know that I feel like I am always learning, but right, I think I am doing something. It doesn't mean that I'm doing it, right? So I live in reality. So I am a realitarian, and my branding is unrealitarian. I'm trying to convey some things to you. So let's follow the 9 events of instruction. Let's just see what that does. Okay. So inform the learners. Now, obviously, gained attention should be something related. Okay. So everything you do will amount to nothing is accurate to what I'm talking about, because everything you're doing is amounting to nothing. Let's say you got a video, you got 50 million people to come together in a big group and we all chanted some statement that amounts to nothing. What are you doing? What have you done? What have you accomplished? 100 years later, what have you accomplished? Oh, it's in the history books. Okay, so you see what I mean? So you can accomplish that. If you want to be remembered, yeah, build a giant statue of yourself. Okay, so number 2, inform learners of objectives. So the objective is that you understand how to form a body of elected representatives. That's the objective. And I feel like I'm not really mentioning that enough. So this is really good that I'm doing this, because I'm saying a lot of things. I'm talking about a lot of things that are wrong with you. But there's an objective that I am teaching you when I teach you what one-to-one representation is. It's how to form a body of elected representatives, which I abbreviate a BOER, B-O-E-R, body of elected representatives. Okay, so BOER, that's a BOER. So there. 3, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So what that does is it creates a level of expectation for the learning. So you know what you're expecting. You're expected to do what? Oh, be able to form a body of elected representatives. Okay. So stimulate recall of prior learning. So what you have been taught, do you think that we in the United States elect our representatives? Okay. No, we don't. We don't do that. But you've been taught that because they want you to think that we choose that. So that's not at all elected, okay? It is technically, to a very small degree, let's say 1 grain of reality, that it is elected representation. But there is a mountain, like a Rocky Mountain-sized mountain of grains of reality that it is not elected. Electing is choosing. So if I say to you, go to your bed or I will beat you physically, and you go to your bed, did you choose to go to bed? Yes. Yes. No one's disputing that you technically, a grain of reality, you did choose to go to bed. But reality, the big reality, the full picture is, oh yeah, this is not electing. That child did not elect to go to bed. But if anyone ever says, no, they did elect, of course they did. See, we understand what words mean. Words mean only what the speaker thinks they mean at the time they said it, because they mean different things. Words are collections of sounds. They can't mean anything but what meaning has been put into it. So if you're someone that says, no, the word meaning comes from the dictionary. Yes, where did the dictionary company get it from? Usage, everyone using it, the people that have used it throughout history, and as it changes etymologically. Okay, so words are theoretical words and stuff, but when a word comes out of someone's mouth, that is an actual real thing, vibrations, actual writing. There are the 1s and 0s are recorded on a physical device in actual real universe, physical universe. That's a real thing. A lot of people don't understand what a word is. It is fascinating. But that's really at the heart of the issue here. Meanwhile, do we even need to, let's see if we even need to address that. So that's your prior learning, is that you've been taught elected representation is what we have. But it is in no way what we have. We've never had that in human history. No established group of people would ever let people elect what to do. It doesn't make any sense. No one's going to elect what to do. So that's why we have to do it ourselves. So we have to become self-aware as a people, as a group of humans. We're homos, we're animals. We need to become aware, oh, wait a minute. We need to ask for this ourselves. Because why would anyone offer this? If they were to offer it as the establishment, it's almost like we're not ready for it. We need to ask for it ourselves. It's a natural process almost that maybe this is how intelligent life works on every planet or something. But anyway, so stimulate recall of prior learning. We did that. Okay, that's that. So present the content. Selective perception of content. Oh, what? Selective perception of the content. The content is okay. Let's learn. Okay, well, it's called one-to-one representation. That's the brand name of it. But what it is elected representation. So it is just 11 words. If we were to write it down in some bylaws, periodically each member may transfer their voting power to any member. That makes 5 points within this statement. Periodically, every period of time. You can't stop it. It's not permanent. It's every period of time. We reassess this. Each member, no one can take this away from anybody. Any member of the group can do this. Unlock me. See, I did some hand signal. I'm done. Okay, the AI is everywhere. I got an AI infused camera that you just simply, like I was walking down the street and I was like going to take a picture and then, weep. No, it just has a zoom. Come on, guys. Okay, so anywho, we are talking about the thing. Oh yeah, the 5 words. Okay, so the 5 points within the 11 words. Okay, so periodically, you understand that every period of time, monthly, annually, some real time, real thing. When you start this out, do it a lot faster. And you might have progressive, like 5 minutes. You're in a big auditorium, 5 minutes with each other, and then you switch around. This is not how you're supposed to see how I'm bouncing all over the place. This is not how you coherently communicate to a homo. Meanwhile, I can't get it to stop on there because I don't know how the world works. Oh, I could if I used my capabilities. If I used my brain cells. Okay, so each person, we got that. Every member is doing this. This is crucial. They don't have to do this. Everything is voluntary. May do what? Transfer their voting power, transfer their speaking power, transfer the essence of their oneness, their one group, they're one of the group, you're one member of the whole group. 5, to any member, to any member. That's electing, choosing any member. Can you choose anyone you want for president and they become president? No. Electing is choosing. When you elect somebody, they are elected. They are chosen. You can't take that away. It's something that happens in your mind. You close your eyes and you elect. That's just happened. It's done. You don't have to tell anyone. You could have elected 500 million things in the time that we've been talking here. So probably should have a vocab lesson first. Elected means choosing. And that is one of the solutions, the parts of the solution is just simply understanding what the word elected means and using it that way. Just use elected to mean chosen and it will work itself out. Someone will figure out what I'm talking about. This is not that complex. I don't know what the content is. That's the content. That's all it is. It's 11 words. That's all it is. Okay, then what? I'm sorry, there's something else. So what do? Each person elects a person. Okay, now what? Well, that's it. Everybody goes home, but the people that want to count, the bean counters stick around. We're measuring RQ. Anyone who cares about what's going on, we count the number of members repped by each person, divided by the total membership, the common denominator, the total membership. How many do you have? You represent 5 out of what? 5 out of 500? 5 out of 5 billion? 5 out of 5? Are you the complete representative of the entire group? Right? So the bottom, the common denominator, is the crucial part. So don't forget that that's the key number here is the key concept is RQ. Well, okay, I'm sorry. So RQ should be the first thing that you learn. I get it. You should learn what an RQ is. I'm so sorry. Well, here, I'm learning. So, I mean, you would think that this is something. Okay. Thank you for enduring my learning process myself. Okay. So, RQ. What else was there? So there's essentially 3 steps of what we're talking about. I don't know. Should I do the 5 words first? Because it's not. You need to know this. See, the point is, you need to know there's structure to what we're talking about. Because a lot of people go, oh, well, what about this and this and this? I'm like, well, hold on. Did we lose track of what it is? What am I proposing? I'm saying that there's 11 words that are in a sentence and that means something. We focused on the 11 words? Because that is, so I think this is the most important thing you start with. Well, start with RQ, so the concept's there. Then 11 words. Okay, so this is what I'm telling you to do. This is the gods have spoken. Periodically, each member may transfer their voting power to any member. That's the answer to the universe. We don't know and understand it yet, but there we are. Then you go to the 3 steps, right? Elect reps. So because 1-to-1 is the step 1 of this. Elect a representative. Periodically, each member may transfer their voting power to any member. That's, or I guess, elect reps. Okay, and so it's first RQ, then it is 11 dubs, and then it is the 3 steps. Okay, moving along, and provide learning guidance. Semantic encoding for, this has been on my wall for 5 years. Or 3 years at least. And it's all new to me. I don't read things that are right in front of me. That's what it takes. I have to do a live program for me to read an object. That's fine. I mean, if that's what it takes, I'll do it. That's easy. Provide learning guidance. So this is where I need the homo to be with me. Semantic encoding for storage long-term. Oh my God. For storing long, I have a typo in my own chart, which is so well done. I mean, this chart is pretty nice. Oh, let me zoom without hitting controls. Nope, I don't care about you. I don't need you, Tiny. Tina is what I named her. See, wait a minute. I didn't focus. Oh my God, I love my life. What in the... That's not in focus. I can't tell because I can't see myself. My eyes can't see it. All right, so... all right. Okay, so provide learning guidance. So the learning guidance would be where we talk about an example. Okay, let's form a boar. Okay, first boar. That's 0 is boar. What does that mean? Form a body. Form a boar. How do we do that? Okay, let's say we have a room full of people. We have a room full of people. Like a gym, right? Gymnasium. It's like a community meeting. It's the community, your neighborhood or whatever the hell. And it's for a purpose or not for a purpose. Just, hey, we're all coming together to figure out what to do with this community center. That's a great example because you have a community center. You have a thing. It can be anything. It can be something you care about. Like you could be communists coming together to support communism. Communism is the community center in this example. So there's a thing you need to care about. There's a reason you're together. There's the defined group you have to have, which I need to have this written down. Okay, so there's yeah. Okay, so yeah, I've only recently learned how to get these words and everything on here, and so now I can get the words out there on the screen. Now I get it, like what words? So bore is what I've got to do. Yeah. Define and grow. Okay, so You've got a group of people in a gymnasium. What are they doing? They're in a gymnasium. They're trying to they have a purpose. So there's a purpose. So there's the group. The group, so you need to have a defined group. And the purpose, yeah, group purpose and a group membership. You have to have a group purpose, group membership. There needs to be a defined thing that we're talking about. If there's no, but here's the best part. No one does. If you don't have a purpose, no one's interested. Like, well, what's the purpose of it? Like I talk about elected representation. We can solve all of our problems in every which way. And within the institution, all the members can now come together, report, and communicate to the authorities what to do and how to change everything. But when you say that, people go, well, form a group, why? Well, because of all the things. And they're like, well, what? They need a thing. And you're like, oh, because of like taxes? Or corruption or evil. Imagine if there were like evil elite people who were secretly going to an island doing horrifying things to children, and like nothing was happening to them after everybody found out about it. Like what? So like if there's ever a thing, so I don't understand why people they're not able to wrap their mind around some reason or thing that's going on in the world. I think they think that there's nothing we can do. I can't change anything. No one. Anyway, so. What this does, the effect of this, and this is a later concept, is when you now have the ability to choose a representative, you can now elect representatives, you have purpose. Well, hold on, I'm part of this group now. See, you know how many people vote? 30% of people voted for Trump. That's a lot of people that voted for someone they don't want, right? 30% of people voted for Trump. That is a lot. I mean, think about how many people would be involved if they could get who they actually wanted to be the president. Do you understand what we're talking about? You appoint the president. You're saying, no, I've elected that representative. That one's chosen, and we're now going to recognize the election. That is the 3-step process. You elect representatives, then step 2, recognize the representation of each person around us. I elected, you elected, he elected, we all elected. Someone might not have elected anyone. They elected to keep their own voting power, right? They may do it. They don't have to. You measure everybody. Elect representatives, measure the RQ, and then silence the zeros, the key, the way it all comes together. Get rid of the trash. You got people that don't want to be there. Goodbye. You got people that are just trying to stir things up for no reason and don't have any purpose. Goodbye. Anyone that no one's listening to this guy. Here's Beau. He's over in the corner talking about blah, 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 some bureaucratic stuff. No one's listening to me. Goodbye, Beau. Goodbye, everyone. Silence the zeros 100%. They're gone. They're out of the picture, out of the room. They can't say anything. If you're RQ1, you're technically a representative. So you get the allotted amount of whatever resources are going around. But if the meeting is 3 hours long and it's a society of 250 million people, you're not going to be speaking at the meeting. The allotment would be just a nanoseconds. It's not even, there would be no time to say any syllable of anything. So to be fair, we could say, okay, well, you get a screen, one screen, one frame of I don't even know, hold on a second, you don't even get a frame. To let you know, like out of 250 million, your value of 1 to 250 million is so small, like a 3-hour meeting, it would be like each frame of a video. So if there's 30 frames per second of video, 30 frames per second. So you take one frame, that's 1/30th of a second. That has to represent like thousands of people. So you could have a tiny like logo on the screen, and we could go through all these screens of all the people, that would help at a meeting, because that lets everybody know how much is not here at the meeting. That would be the best way to do that, now that I think about it. It's inefficient, ineffective. Essentially what they'd be saying is, we're going to get that done first. So by the time that's done, show up and it'll be your time to talk. You know what I mean? So no one's going to waste their time going there and looking at a bunch of pointless logos flash across the screen that they can't even see, because your eye can't perceive all these things. It would just be like a a mashy, okay, a static kind of look, because every single frame is different, radically different. Unless, do you see how this is so beautiful? I'm just kind of realizing this. Because those people could coordinate. I'm this part of the screen of one frame. If those people who are allotted that screen placement, they come together and form a picture that is one image, and then another picture that is similar to that image, enough of them could do it to where as all that stuff is just flashing and it's all just static normally, sometimes when those people all unite on something, you can see there's an image that is mostly there, and it's sort of changing here and there, but it's enough to where it's like a kind of a haze, because parts of it would be on each frame, parts of the picture would be there and parts would not. So in other words, the coherence it wouldn't only take maybe 20% of people to coherently do this for that frame to be all the way through. I mean, to where a perceived person could perceive it. So in other words, they could say something's up, right? They could make a symbol, and that people go, oh, this symbol is something we need, it's what's going on? I mean, we would raise questions. They have the input ability. So that's the beauty of one-to-one. When you actually do it like that, it is perfect. It is flawless. Every single person is represented, and nobody is represented more than anyone else. We don't have situations where someone's a president with all this power and only 30% of people chose them. Even after he was only running against a retarded hyena. He ran against a person that could not coherently convey basic sentences, who was not elected, an unelected buffoon idiot. That's his opposition, the only other person that can win. You can't vote for anyone else. Anyone else, you vote for any of the other two, other than these two, you are voting as a protest vote for the third parties and stuff like that. That's fine, that's valid, and it will count. No one's counting it, I am, because we measure RQ over here. Up in here, we measure RQ. That's what you need to measure. Anyone can measure RQ. That's another thing about RQ. So you start with this, because it's just something you can just put in your pocket and start using. Trump's RQ is 30%. Mamdani's RQ is 15.6%. Just measure how many people actually voted for this guy against the total. Do you see? Just because he got the most out of those people who voted doesn't mean that's how you measure it in real life. That's how the news measures it. Because the news wants you to think that we make these decisions. Because these things are just off. The news is the corporations, the news corporations. They're just offshoots of the government. They are supported by the government. That's how these legacy companies existed, because they got special deals from the government. They would just get handed a TV show, the ability to manipulate millions of households, tens of millions of households of people. Just handed out for free, not auctioned, not even auctioned off. You know what I mean? That's what's so weird about it. That's what I think Milton, Uncle Milty, who was Milt? Not Milton Berle, Milton Friedman, kind of harped on that. Anyway, so that they got it without an auction. It should be auctioned. If we only have 3 channels that we're going to allow from the government, the FCC is going to allow only 3 channels. Well, then that's auctioned off. You pay the most, and you get that. Not I'm your friend or I like what you're saying. Anyway. Where are we with this? Let's see. Provide learning guidance. I would need to then. Oh yeah. So the example is the gym. We got a gym full of people. So what do we need to do? Remember, we got periodically. So what are the laws? The gods spoke to us, and they said, what? Periodically. Oh, periods. So we need to have periods of time. If we're starting a bore, I recommend, you can do whatever period of time you want. I recommend we start with something small, like 5 minutes for the first one, 10 minutes. And so in a way, it's not a period, because you're saying it's not the exact amount of time, but it is decided beforehand. And it can be periodic if you think logarithmically. It's a logarithmic period. You could calculate some things, but I think determining rounded amounts are good too. So the rounded amounts, I think, should be 5 minutes. In other words, you choose someone, just choose anybody. Okay. And then, you know somebody, you like somebody, whatever. And then you, so if we're doing this face to face, the real problems are the personalities and stuff. Okay, I had a shortcut. It's latched onto me now. I had a shortcut to undo this. I forgot what it is. Oh, wait, here it is. There we go. Okay, so never mind. I don't have to interrupt anymore. I did make a shortcut, and there it is. Ka-dink, ka-dink. And then this is doing this turns it on and off. This does close up. This does, what the hell does this do? Oh, this is close up. See, what am I? Well, this is fine. I'll just cover up all the trash. Hi. Okay, I don't know why it's a little too personal. Provide learning guidance. Oh, I should have read through these before I did this. I cannot read. Oh, this helps. See, with the backlighting. See how this is backlit from behind this light in my face? Provide feedback. See, I need to have you do a thing, and then I give the feedback and the assessment. This whole chunk at the bottom is the assessment part, So anyway, anywho, so what? Then I would ask. I need to set up these things like questions, and then ask the questions to people. Yeah, so that's what I need to ask. So I need to try that with Dubs, and because he's working with me on Sundays. Tomorrow we'll be live, talking about more of this. I need to get back to. Hold on. This is my show that Dubs is a guest on, because that's how he's viewing it. Because I was like, we're co-hosts of this thing that is an organism that lives its own life, and I'm skipping off with Dubs in the sunset, like this is the future or something. When he is right here right now, I mean, I'm aware that he could not stop at any time, but so I need to do this show where I'm communicating things, and then there's guests that can come along and do that. If you would like to be a guest on the show, I live in Austin, Texas. I live in South Austin, so you could probably just come over, or we can meet anywhere. And record something. I can go live on Kick. I need 1,000 subs to go live on YouTube. So if you want to sub for that purpose, I can't see why you would be interested in this. I mean, once you should sub if you want to know these answers to the universe. Once you understand them and you get them, okay, then you're done. I've got maybe 42 things, let's say, that I could teach you, and then that's pretty much it. I mean, I think you get the picture, because I'm going to teach you the original core things, how to think, how to understand reality. What you're doing is, here's reality. You're building another reality, your constructed reality on top, but you're forgetting that this is unreality. This is not reality. This is what you put together. Sometimes as an infant, you're as a little baby. This little baby put together this reality, and you're like living in baby reality. The world has moved on, and your assessment has stopped because you're like, no, that's reality. Like the earth is round. That's not reality. That's unreality. That's a constructed reality that you've made up. That is not actual reality. But you're like, no, it is real because it matches. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's confusing. I know that the world in reality is round. The earth is round in reality, but that's a constructed thing. Your understanding of it is constructed. So that's unreality. You're living in a state of unreality where you think this actual made up reality that you created is this. You see this. You're like, oh, yeah, reality. Like, no, that's constructed reality that you made up. Reality moves. As you learn and expand, you're like, oh, it's not that way at all. And you should restructure and reassess that new reality, what you've learned, restructure your unreality around that and go, okay, good. This looks about like where it is now. And if you don't do that regularly, it's confusing to you. And you have no idea how to do it, especially if you're plus 30 or 40. Once you're deep into adulthood, your brain has formed. You've atrophied these abilities to do certain things. So let's get kids to be able to understand and wrap their mind around different things. And what if this? So that's why some health to imagining that you're a thing, like live that reality. I mean, you do it when you watch a movie. It's suspended disbelief. You get it. You don't believe that they're actual Jedi, but you do because you're living in the world. You're willingly giving yourself up to that world. Why can't you willingly give yourself up to an idea? So that's what the problem I have with people understanding one-to-one representation. They don't get what it is. I'm like, just buy into it in your mind. Suspend disbelief. Imagine we could actually choose who we wanted to do. What would happen? You would see that we would all be incentivized to do what? Be idiots and look like stupid idiots? No. We would want the most intelligent, well-spoken, funniest, maybe a person that could zing people because maybe we're mean, but we want them to zing people in a intelligent way and be respectful of certain things. We don't want them to just be a barbarian psychopath and smear feces on the microphone when it's their turn to talk, right? I mean, nobody wants that. And if they do that and they go, ha ha, see what I did. And then they go, wait a minute, if I can do that, why am I presenting that? So, and honestly, if that's what the case is, then they do that. Now, in reality, that's how you would operate a scenario. If someone does that, they would be shot in the head. I mean, what are we talking about? You're going to smear feces on our microphone that we're all engaged in? I mean, you're removed from the group at least. There's no way you're a part of anything. So, in other words, what do you do about that person? He's not invited in the facility anymore, right? He's still part of the board. We're still one-to-one. We haven't lost track of reality. We know what one-to-one representation is. Every single member is represented always. That is the board. The board is everything. What we're typically dealing with is more concise groups of people, the top, the cream of the crop. This is what I call the benchmark. The benchmark is where you trim the tail off of the boar. I always do it this way. So you trim the tail off of the boar and you're left with the bacon, the primo part of the boar. A core group of maybe 100 people or however many you want, but you're going to take the top people instead of just handpicking people, right? So some people are going to handpick. They're going to, oh God, we don't like anyone who doesn't agree with us and all. Okay, so that's fine. They'll come together and however they want to come together. It's all voluntary. Remember, self-schooling, self-sustaining, self-spreading. This takes care of itself. You don't have to support this. If you don't care about representing yourself, you don't have to worry about it. We will get you to be represented. If you don't care about building a bridge in the village, don't worry about it. The rest of the village will come together and build the bridge if we need to. We will pay for it. We will do it. Voluntary. Things that need to be done, people will do. Things that need to be done, people will do, right? So don't worry about, what about things that need to be done? They will do them. Allow people freedom, anarchy, big boy anarchy, not little, agorist, don't vote, voting is stupid, anarchy, pretend anarchy, throw a flaming bottle at a building anarchy, little baby anarchy. I don't understand these people. But anyway, that's the nonsense anarchy. I'm talking about big boy pants anarchy, where we're saying we're going to constantly try not to have a government. We don't need a government. We're going to try not to need one. The way you don't need one is you have self-sustaining abilities. Agorists understand that part, but they sort of just brain fart on, reality. Anyway, it's the brainwashing. They're against elected representation. What? Because they view it as what you view it as. Everybody views it as bureaucracy. And I get it. I get a word association. Okay, can you get back to reality? What does elect mean? Chosen. Okay, so that's not elected. So you're calling it elected representation, but it's not. And you know it's not. So let's get back to reality. Elected representation is what we actually want. So if you elect a representative, we can measure that. That's choosing anybody within the group with no restriction. That's elected. Chosen, but not chosen from a group, not chosen with caveats, chosen but not really chosen at all. Chosen between two people out of a group of 250 million. That's what we do for president. So for president, we have at best, even in the primaries, you have maybe, let's say 20 people total out of 250 million. And the way you're going to measure how we're interested is you say that we will vote for only one of them. So we don't actually get to have say on all of these 20 that you've chosen. That would be approval voting, what we would do there. So if you want to fix the United States, the first thing is just make it approval voting, where we actually are measuring how we feel about each candidate. Okay, we're going to have one food at the picnic. One food at the picnic, guys. That's all we're going to do. We're not going to mess around. We're just going to do one type of food. What's it going to be? So how would you measure that if you really cared about the people? Food gets you, right? Gets you right there. You know, you care. You care about food. You're like, wait a minute. We're going to have a picnic and we're going to end up with something that only 5% of people actually want, right? We're eating squid tofu or something. That's what I mean. Like, do you understand? We eat squid tofu. That's what elected representation is in the United States government's definition. What I'm saying is we choose our representative. Anyway, so with approval voting, you would, at the picnic, you would each of the proposed candidates, if we're going to do with candidates, right? You could say whether you like something or not. I'm just going to have lettuce-wrapped cow turds. This guy's going to have ribeyes. This guy is for hot dogs, hamburgers, human flesh. So you would then, each person, approval voting, says, okay, how do we all feel about this? Well, nobody seems to want that. How many people like ribeyes? Oh, it sounds like a lot of people like that. And then how many here? How many here? Okay, put your hands down. Put your hands up for this one. Do you see? Do you see? You're finding out what people actually want. That's approval voting. We could never have that because the establishment won't let that happen. They would lose control. The parties control everything. It's a two-party machine. This is not that difficult to understand, but you cannot change government as easily as you can change yourself. And that's why I'm saying all you need to do is elect a representative. That's all you need to do. That's what you need to do. The rest of the world will figure out step 2. Don't worry about it. Measuring, we'll measure. Someone will build a website if enough of us start to elect representatives. Now, it has to be for a specific task. So what I'm saying is, let's elect representatives to report on the federal government. That's innocuous. That's harmless as hell. To what? To murder people in their sleep? No. Just to elect a representative. I mean, to report on the federal government. Okay, just report on what's going on? Yes. Okay, so that's all you need. Once you have a board, now you got someone that's actually been chosen by board. We're going to realize these people are going to be basically like the 10 men in Rome where, you know, they make the laws, essentially. So the core board, it needs to be coherent people. That's who the board is going to imprint on. But once you have the concept of one-to-one, you can't undo it. You can't stop it. You can't exclude people from understanding the concept and saying, oh, wait, we can do it ourselves. Like if a place becomes so exclusive, well, the rest of the people are going to go, well, okay. I mean, the rest of the board is going to meet somewhere anyway. So that's not incentivized. You see, it's incentivized to bring your enemies into your camp. You want your enemies with you because you don't want them off taking over and where you're left as a tide pool to the entire board process. So everyone will want to represent everyone in the same group. That's incentivized. That's a built-in thing. It's all self-sustaining, self-schooling. By doing this process, you understand it. Self-spreading, by learning this and seeing what can be done here, you go back and you realize, wait a minute, guys, y'all don't even know that we can form a board? And people are like, what? I thought that was only for giant United States-sized things. No, we, the employees of this company, we're only 60 people. We can form a board. And all this crap around here in the office can be fixed up. The bathroom that doesn't work. This that doesn't have a thing. The AC has got a problem. Basic shit like that. We live in a world where to get something fixed, you have to take your own time and energy and life and give up your life to go get something fixed for the community. And it's people like me that help keep things running. Because I go around and I'm just a critical person, critical thinking. Oh, hey, like I tell the principal, oh, yeah, open the fridge. If we move the thing to the other side of the fridge, we wouldn't have to, because we had the fridge against the wall this way. Here's the wall. You have to get against the wall, you know, or open it all the way because there's a desk here. I was like, oh, if you can put that on the other side. Now, he didn't get that done because why would he get that done? Who cares about that? right? That's not that big of a deal. It's not his school. So the community of teachers, the community of parents, the community of students, if they existed, they wouldn't want that inefficiency in any piece. Now, it wouldn't even be that kind of thing that would be the first stuff you talk about. The horrific injustices would be dealt with, like Epstein Island stuff. Well, that would be what America deals with first. That kind of thing, the billions and trillions of dollars of corruption that just went out the window, we just went full kleptocracy. And I think we're still going that way. No one's going to pay this money back. I hope everybody knows that, right? We're not paying it back. So what's going to happen when everybody realizes that everybody in the United States doesn't want to pay this money back? I don't know what, we've got different options. We can create United States 2, transfer all the property to United States 2, and US 1, oh, bankruptcy, sorry. We could tie it to living people. Like, I'm part of the United States now because I voted in an election. If you have never voted in an election, you're not responsible. You're part of US 2. And then we transfer property and fighters and nuclear weapons to the US 2. And, there's just different ways we could do it. But, I mean, we're not paying this back, right? I mean, they can enslave us. So we will be slaves or, serfs, or continue being serfs. Or the reality is, I mean, it's not an achievable thing. I don't think it really is. I don't think that system's going to work. I don't think it's going to be paid back. But anyway, so you get your people in a room. You elect representatives. So we just do the 3 steps, right? It's very simple, nothing complex. Okay, so you go here, 3 steps. Come on, Bubba. Come on. You're here, and then you're here. Okay, so 3 steps, elect representatives. So each person chooses a representative. And I was saying 5 minutes at first. Okay, so the period of time is going to be 5 minutes, then 15, then 30 minutes, then an hour, that kind of thing. So we elect representatives. All this is planned out, the time amounts. You measure, okay, so each person chooses a person. That's very simple. It sounds like you're thinking this is a very complex thing. But no, each person picks a person. So how would you do that physically in person, in real life? What's the easiest way to do that without paperwork? No one's got a pen. We can't write anything down. How would you do that? How would you get people to show that they've elected another person to speak on their behalf? One way you could do it is to get them to stand behind that person. If you stand behind somebody, that's a vote for that person. Now, here's the trick, because I can vote for you, I can elect you to represent me, and you can elect me to represent you. See, that's really what should be able to happen. So you could give them each a poker chip. You could each give them a ticket, right? So you give them something, and then they can physically hand that to somebody. They can hand it, they can sell it, they can do whatever, right? Because it's open and voluntary. We're dealing with reality. What's the reality? So if someone sells their ticket, we're using 1-to-1. They would not sell their ticket. They would sell it for something, but to someone that they knew would be okay. And if they sold their ticket to someone that did something bad, they go, oh, well, hold on a second. I don't want to do that again. So you learn your lesson. If you think you're going to make a few bucks off of selling your ticket. And also in a totally open understanding of that, people would buy out people that wanted to sell their ticket. The group would probably buy it out, right? Like if you don't know who to vote for, it sounds like we should just pay you not to vote. That would be beneficial to us to some degree. So you could do that with a clean conscience in a publicly acceptable way. Imagine, right? We've institutionalized the bribery of the vote so that it's not a problem because we're buying your vote out. And so then that vote is essentially a dead vote, which is what it should be. That person should vote for themselves and go live in a cave, and we never talk to them. But we always count them because we're measuring by RQ. That's where you're measuring by the common denominator always. If there's a guy who lives in a cave and he's a citizen of the United States, when I say we're forming a board to report on the federal government, we always count that guy in the cave. That's counted as a no vote. Everyone agrees unanimously, every single person in the United States. Oh, we didn't do full bore, one-to-one representation. There's one guy that didn't. He said no, because he didn't say yes. Oh my God, this is really unbearable. Um, First world problems, unbearable. Oh my God. That's unbearable. So then if we did 5-minute cycles, that means for 5 minutes they are the representative. That means they start talking and you hear what they're saying as a representative. Then 5 minutes later, boom. Okay, now we're going to do another period, elect another person. So in that 5 minutes, you're listening to this guy, you're listening to a lot of people, you're walking around, you're doing all these things. So you're saying what you want to say. This is from total chaos. Typically, we understand who the community members are. You have someone you already support. You already know people and you say, you've talked about it before you came together. So you would know who you're with. But maybe people have no idea. They're new to this thing. What is going on? So you get to hear people talk about what they're talking. What are your taglines? What's your little 15-minute spiel? You get a good gist of what's going on, what you may not want to be a part of. Then that can expand 30 minutes for the next one, then an hour, then maybe a day. And in one day, you're all going to meet again. Maybe you don't do that because it's inconvenient. I mean, there's an amount where it becomes problematic to keep making people stay there and elect over and over again. Because we're rejecting everybody. We're not saying we're keeping your votes as they are unless you change them. No, that's not how this works. This is reality-based. You have been chosen for this amount of time. You're choosing them for a purpose and for an amount of time. So it's for 1 year. That's the board that I've chosen to elect Thomas Massey to report on the federal government. That is for 1 year. That's for a year. For the year. So I will mention it for the year and the purpose of it. And adult citizen is another thing you want to throw in. If you're talking about what technically do you need to elect somebody? Well, because you don't need anything. This just happens in your mind. All right, close your eyes. And then you need to communicate that to people. So what is communicated, provable, all that? We would need to know as a member of what group we're talking about. That's pretty straightforward. That's kind of already understood usually. Like you're not allowed in the room if you're going to vote. We're going to elect people. So then we're going to elect people. Okay, I need to do a little eye test here. I am concerned about having bright lights in your eyes, relatively bright lights. So you elect representatives, then in the period of time, it can be whatever you want. You come together, that's it. So you could do it to where you stand behind the person, but it's better because you want to allow the freedom of actual election. So you want to allow them to be able to take a poker chip, one of those tickets that has a number on it that you can verify it's a number from this reel. So a ticket, and you count how many tickets you end up with, that kind of thing. And then that person has that RQ, that's the RQ. So how many tickets did you end up with? That's the members repped. That's the number that we're dealing with. The single whole number is how many members do you represent? But that's a fraction. The RQ is really a fraction. So it's a number will reference, he's RQ 233, or he's RQ 500. We know what group we're talking about, so it's understood. But the real thing is it's a fraction of that. So whatever you are divided by. So Americans is about 250 million adult Americans. So it's roughly 250 people is 1 part per million. So you get 200. If you're RQ 250 in the United States, that is 1 part per million. Your RQ is 1 millionth. So you represent 1 millionth of the United States. And I'd say that's where we start to begin to pay attention to people. Once you got 250 people that are agreeing with a single person, no one else. See, we're not measuring approval voting, how you feel about this, how you feel about that, how you feel about that. No, we're actually, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about everything? You're represented. I feel like I missed something there. So you got to do this, then you got to go home. elected representation. Step 3 is get rid of silence. So essentially it's ignore. So it's elect, measure, ignore, because you're going to ignore those that you're not interested in. So you certainly silence the zeros. That's official. You silence these zeros. That is official. You do that. They're out of the room. They must be removed. Physically remove them. And if their dead bodies have to be dragged out. But they're out of the room. They're out of the chat room if it's a chat room. They're not chiming in or happy facing or anything. They don't upvote or downvote anything. This is difficult for people because a lot of people are thinking about, wow, that's terrible. That's it, I'm done. I'm turning off the damn hand signals, my God. I mean, the one thing I would want to use sometimes is the zoom in, I guess, because you could just do that with one hand. Now see, it should have like one is in and one is out. That would make sense. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you need to get your shit together. Come on. Okay, I'm done. So yeah, that hand signals there's no purpose of a hand signal. We're done with that. We're done with hand signals and we're okay with that. So I'm going to use them for the rest of this thing and we'll be better off. We'll be all better off for it. Yes, okay. So there's that. The executive rappers. Come on, mama. Okay. 3 steps. Ignore. So silencing the zeros. If step 4 would be ignore low RQ. But the whole process is really the silencing it's ignoring the low people. But I guess it is a separate thing. So silencing zeros is an official thing. Then the concept is, it's self-explanatory that you ignore people that are low RQ, right? I mean, you're going to be talking to someone in the gym. We all just selected. Then we got rid of the zeros. So it's just the bore. The bore is left. But wait a minute, I could have voted for myself. So I'm talking to this guy. So what's your RQ? What's your RQ again? Oh, I'm just a 1. Oh, okay. So RQ1s would probably converge together because that's kind of something you have in common. You need each other more than anyone else. Other people have checked out. They said, I'll elect a representative. They're leaving. They're not a part of this. You want to be there. You want to be a witness. So you are with the other RQ1s typically, and you come together and you can pool that and get your resources. If you have, 5%, all 5% is RQ1. If they all come together at the meeting, they can claim their resources. If this group gets money, that money is divided up by the RQ to the members. It is to the representatives. If this group gets facility time, that time is divided up by RQ, prorated to RQ. RQ governs everything. How much time do you get in the newsprint? You have a newsletter. Let's say it's 1 page. How much space do you get on that page is RQ. How much time you get in an advertising is RQ. How much anything is dispensed is RQ. To the point of absurdity, if you were to give donuts to the representatives, some people would get 50 donuts and some guy gets a bite of donut, right? That would be the full absurdity of RQ breakdown. Some things are then obviously per person. And so you're going to be giving this to the group saying, okay, here, this is to the group per person. If you give $1,000 to be divided amongst every single representative, regardless of their RQ, then that's the caveat that you've given that money to. And of course, people will take money. You'll take money and give it to everybody, whatever. So, essentially you're paying people and bribing them, but that should be fine, right? And because we're electing representatives. You see, we don't have to care about corruption. You're like, what if someone chooses the corrupt candidate? Good for them. Yay. That's what you spent your money on. That's what you spent your time and effort on. You got suckered, dummy. Let the suckers get suckered. You need to be represented. Do you see? Do you see? You need to be represented. You're worried about a guy choosing a bad guy. You're thinking elected representation that we have now again. You're back to thinking of governments. Governments operate that way. Anyway, it becomes a hate fest at some point. I'm just so disgusted with you. But, you know, do what you want to do. Anyway, that's why it comes down to reality. You know, we're talking about reality. This is an indisputable thing. You have the ability to elect someone to represent you. That's an indisputable thing. That's it. Just understand that concept. Once you understand that, now you can do that. You right? Can you do it or not? Can you choose someone in your head? I don't know. Close your fucking eyes. Can you do that? Can you decide on something in your head? I don't know if you can. And I think if you're over 40, I don't think you can. I don't think you have the capacity. I think your brain has atrophied. You don't have the ability to understand a new concept and construct reality. You think reality already exists and you think the world is round and that's it. You can't fathom the universe as it really is. Something that you don't know what it is. Close your eyes and close your ears. That's the reality. You are shut off from the universe. You're getting only images to your brain that have been reflected from light photons. They have reflected into your retina. The retina is sending your signal in your brain, and your brain is giving you these images and interpreting the images based on this unreality that you have designated. You're bouncing ideas off your own fucking idea of your own head. Out of the inside of your own head, you're bouncing ideas off. And you're saying, no, it is reality because it's your own reality you've literally constructed in your own head. It's pulling from memories and connecting to neurons that you've already logged into your head. And you're saying that's reality. You think the literal brain neuron electric currents and signals are the actual reality as opposed to the earth being actually round. That's a real thing in reality. The concept of the earth being round is not reality. So anyway, I need to talk to people in person because if that might be something that you've understood early on in the conversation, and then I need to move on. What's going to happen, what I've always seen happen, is that you go back to the false reality. Like I will tell you, we're not talking about governments. Here's one-to-one representation. Now remember, not governments. We're talking about elected representation, not elected representation. You understand it. I explain it. The grain of sand, the mountain, you get it. Okay. And then you go right back to it. You go right back to it. I swear to God, you wouldn't believe it. It's like one of those illusions. Like you can't believe you do these psychological tests. You go, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't see that, or I didn't think that, or I did assume that. Wow. It's a mind game you're playing on yourself. I've told you 1,000 times, this is not elected representation that you understand. I am talking about a new concept where you're electing representatives. You have word association with elected representation that you cannot let go of. And that comes from you not living in actual reality and reassessing. Oh, here's reality. It moves over here. You're like, nope, that's reality, remember? This is something you made when you're 3 years old. It's over here now. If you had been assessing, you'd be like, reassess. Oh yeah, you're a teenager? Oh, reassess. If reassess every moment of your life. Live a structured life of understanding reality. And it's always assessment of what's reality. Then your brain knows how to piece things together. It calls upon things and goes, okay, let's take the sum of actual reality, what we're measuring. What is the actual reality? Although we know it's unreality, we're not ever leaving reality. We know that we're a homo constructing it. So whenever I create reality, I understand it is unreality, but my unreality is always closer to reality than yours. My reality is better than yours. It's basically, my unreality is better than yours. It's more well constructed. I've learned the technique of constructing reality. You can't build realities as fast as I can. You can't build realities. It would take me a fraction of the time to build realities the size of an empire. Okay, so yeah, did we talk about things? We did stuff. Am I even live? What's the camera angle? Okay, so okay, we do have these other things. I should be able to do like let's just take a break, right? Y'all ready for a break? Oh, look, I'm out of coffee. Let's take a break. Let's take a kitchen break. Oh, you weren't supposed to see that. Little preview of Burger Boy. I can't get this thing to stay up. I can't get it to stay up. I don't know how, but that's the thing. It looks like a Burger Boy, right? Doesn't this look like a Burger Boy? Oh, I guess I can get it for a second. Here, let me slap it on there. Doesn't that look like a burger boy? And then what are the chances? What are the chances that I have my burger boy shirt from when I was a literal burger boy to me? Track me. Track me. The burger boy was an actual thing that I did. It was awesome. At A&M, we rode around on Schwinn bikes, like beautiful Schwinn bikes. Like the old school big fenders, red, with a little big basket in the front. We deliver hamburgers to other students, and it was amazing, and it was crazy, and it was just fun riding around. It was healthy. It was the best experience ever. I love delivering things and driving and moving around and whatever. Okay, so see, I don't have to put this up now, but I'm going to. Oh God, I'm going to see. I can't help but not put things up. Okay, so what we're not doing is that. Okay, unlock me, and then we want to go to. Why was it? I was insert. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the. Oh, this is also kind of funny. Here's a random shot of my kitchen. I literally you would think I'm setting it up like I'm a psychopath. Okay, what do I got? Pepper spray, a baton, a police, whatever is your baton, a flashlight, a bottle of liquor, and bread. So that's my kitchen setup. Oh, butter. Oh yeah, butter, salted butter. Everyone should do that. No, that wouldn't work. Salted butter. You can keep out for 2 weeks, but it's got to be salted. You can't have unsalted butter out for 2 weeks. But keep it out. It's soft, always soft. I mean, you make toast, it melts instantly. It's amazing. But then you have to get, here, track me. Track me. Tina. Track me. Track me, Tina. Come on, over here. I swear to God, I hate you. Tina. Okay, unlock me. Forget it. Never mind. Unlock me. Unlock me. Position 2. Oh, God. Position 3. Position. I swear to God. I swear to God. Anywho. Oh, I am actually getting coffee. So, God, this is a problem. I just want to stream all day. But I need people. I need a homo to engage with and to convey these ideas to, or tell me that I'm terrible. Whatever. I don't want to embarrass you. But if you have no problem disagreeing with me, go ahead, because this is reality, dummy. See that I'm having nerve. That's a good. I'm glad I caught that. I'm trying to find. I've dropped things every once in a while with my left hand, and I'm like, why? That nerve damage, and I can't, there's a certain, when I start to hold it a certain way, it wobbles. Chilled coffee, that's the way to go. Brew it, chill it, cream only, no sugar. God, it's so great. It's just great. It keeps the calories down, half and half. Gotta have half and half. Position 1. Tina, assume position 1. Assume the position. It does feel interactive. I joked about putting like a wig on it and making a little doll out of it or something, but it's not interactive enough. I would prefer something that's interactive, like a literal animal, a creature. That would be more interesting. I would prefer to be able to. Okay, I got a Tiny 2. You want to do a Tiny 2 review? You can't rename. In other words, to wake it up, it's certain words. Hi, Tiny. So I can't rename those words. I can't make different words. With AI, the ability we have today, this was created in like 25, 24? It might have been developed in 24. They should have had some AI that can. We'll say whatever, we can recognize any word you say. What type of word that's in the dictionary, and yeah, we understand how that's pronounced, and you can respond to that. So you could then curse the thing out, and I could say, assume the position like some sort of, innuendo. All right, so Anyway, I was just playing around with the kitchen thing because no one's going to watch this anyway. But if anyone is actually watching this for whatever reason, for the love of God, let's engage in a conversation. You don't have to like me. You can hate me all you want. That's fine. I actually don't have a problem with that. I do have to explain these concepts to you because there's one-to-one representation, and then RQ is, I guess, a different concept as well. And I mean, one-to-one is really its own concept because you can do one-to-one dollars. In other words, let's say an organization comes together, like that example of the gymnasium, the facility. Everyone's meeting in a facility for the community facility. They can, oh God, what was I going to say? Yeah. Sorry, I'm so forgetful. But to get things done, you're going to raise money. And if you have no purse or no bank account or no official anything, if money is given, it's given out by RQ. I've already said that. You understand that concept. See, RQ governs everything. If you're wondering, how do we determine anything? RQ. That gives you the math. And then you listen to people or don't. And it's not like people can say, we want the moon to divide into two. 100% of people can vote for the moon to divide into two. What that means is we now know every single person wants the moon to divide into two. That's the information. The moon ain't going to divide into two, right? Are you living in reality or not? Everyone should be fed. We can all agree to everyone being fed. People aren't being fed. Oh no. Yeah, because all we did was say it. Do you see? These people these alarmist, over-concerned people, the problem is they don't want to think. Your brain, you're so lazy, you don't want to think. You don't want to keep thinking about what the fuck we're talking about. You don't want to think about what we're talking about. You just want to keep, you just want to not think about it. You want to let it go. It's just unbelievable. But to get something done, this is a body of people saying something. If you don't want people to say something, then you're against this. There are people that are against it because they're like, no, I don't want them to get machetes and kill me. Oh, right. Okay. So you think that people saying something means that they're going to kill you. I mean, you're out of, then you are opposed to this. You should stay way the hell over there. And the rest of us should form the boar because I don't want you to imprint on the boar. So in other words, the boar is going to be the socialized people. Typically, left-wing people are going to be wanting the boar. But the downside is for left-wing people, it is a conservative dominating situation. Groups are conservative. Any group is conservative. No one wants to change anything. We want it to be like it is. That's the starting place. That's the default. So to get people to change, you have to actively get them to change. So the benefit for conservatives is they dominate the boar. The boar process of one-to-one gets their position best they can. The downside for conservatives or the upside for progressives is they are constantly able to. No one can shut you out anymore. If you are just 5% of the population that think that women have peenies, then you cannot be shut out. You will be there and you can say anything you want. If that's the one thing you want to focus on the rest of your life, women have peenies, and just that's it. That's all you want to say it over and over again. You can do that. And they can't take that away from you. Now, in real life, actual progressives, because the progressives that you're noticing in the world today are conservatives. These are people that have been manipulated in the same old-fashioned legacy approach of just get them to think normal. They're normal. You're normal. Normal is good. Normal is good is their approach. So that's not really progressive. To just think established everything, whatever you see is good. That's like the opposite of change and moving forward and fixing problems. So anyway, the actual progressives are able to come together and resolve their issues, solve them, because we can't make the conservatives, we keep trying to make the board do something, but we can't. Oh man. So we need to actually get our ideas better. We need to actually say, okay, what are the steps to get there? Where do we want to go? Once we understand where we want to go, that's the key. Anyway, you force progressives to be philosophical about what they're doing and understand where they're going and cooperate. It's a totally different story. So once they learn that stabbing each other is not going to work, or what I mean? It just, the problem that people have with this is they start thinking of how people behave today. We're incentivizing them to behave this way, and they say, oh, look at the anarcho-terrorism that's everywhere today. But yeah, why do you want that? Why don't you want a board? Why don't you want elected representation? And then, I swear to God, they'll go back to, well, we do elect. I swear to God. So the core thing is you don't elect anybody. Dum-dum. Why would you think you elect? Jesus Christ. It's, anyway. But to the point of the one-to-one for the money. So one-to-one is a separate concept, really, than one-to-one representation. It's just a way of measuring exactly whatever. So let's say that everybody in that auditorium come together and they all want to build a turret or something on the community center. A turret with a gun. They want a mounted machine gun. 87% of people want a mounted machine gun. Okay, well, okay, so then what happens? So do you see how one-to-one representation works? We now know, because we heard. So we know, that's it. That's all we know. We know, we heard words, and we know. 87% of people want a mounted turret machine gun on the top of the community center. Okay, so does that make a mounted goddamn machine gun appear on the fucking, does it? No. So why do you keep thinking that when they say something, it's going to happen? It has to happen by someone for a reason. When United States citizens come together and they say, we're not going to have illegal immigrants, not one illegal immigrant ever come into the country ever again. If you come in after this date, you will be removed no matter what. Once 87% of people say that, that's it. Now the politicians have an incentive not to run on that platform. Once they lie, we know, oh, well, these politicians have lied before. They're gone. They're done. Once you know the board has done this, the board publish these documents. We know it's Bohr RQ measured. We now have elected representation. We now know that guy is a liar. Once he's been told and shown to be a liar, you said you're going to do this one thing and you didn't do that. You did the opposite. That's it. That person is blackballed for all eternity because of reality. We all understand that guy lied about that thing. A sucker will be suckered again and again, but at some point, they're not going to be suckered, or good for them. That sucker was going to lose their money no matter what. They're going to be represented by an idiot, a manipulator, no matter what. That's not going to be most people. Most people will speak on their own behalf and think about what their own answers are. And if someone lies to them, that's it. They're done. Currently, you don't have the ability to choose your candidate. Choose a candidate. You have to choose a person that's a candidate. I'm saying just be able to choose a representative, any human being you want to speak on your own behalf. Okay, back to the one-to-one. Okay, so how do you get the mounted team? We want the mounted machine gun. 87% of us want that. Well, they're going to get together and raise money, right? Because they want it. If they know they want it, guys that have a mounted machine gun are going to try to sell it to the board. Guys that know how to work on one are being, oh my God, what? We're going to do that. People that really want that are totally involved. They're willing to put some money in. And there you go. And if no one's interested in putting money into it, then there is no machine gun that happens because they don't really want that. So when people say, I want Medicare for all. Okay. And then you ask, most people do. You ask them, do you want to pay for it? No, thank you. So most people don't. Most people don't want Medicare for all because what we think of as Medicare for all is us paying for it. They don't want the taxes, so they don't actually want it, but they want it. So let's learn to speak and say yes and understand listen to what the people say so we know we all want Medicare for all. So we all do want Medicare for all, but we can't afford it, so we're not going to get it. But we want it, and that's important to know what people want in their hearts. That's important. Now we're communicating, now we're learning, now we're growing as a community. Oh, people want this. And now when you say that, that means, wait, 87% of people want something? That means the people that do that or want to do that are very inspired, right? If 87% of people wanted one-to-one representation, I'd be, oh my God, this is amazing. So, let's go. I mean, I would know how to approach it differently. You know that the man on the street supports what you're saying. It's a different story. It's a different world. Everything's incentivized naturally through the natural state of anarchy. No archy. We don't need archy. Archy doesn't help. Archy hurts. But we have archy. It's like we have archy. It's like a skin disease. You can't rip your skin off, dummy. You gotta create something that makes the skin disease obsolete. That's not a good example. I guess organ. We have an organ, your spleen or something. Do you need a spleen? I just donated my spleen. Do I need that? So what do we got here? I think you get the gist of it, right? I mean, you understand. We're talking about one-to-one representation. There's 5 concepts with one-to-one representation. That periodically, you're going to set a time amount, you're going to do this. Each member is going to be able to do it. It's optional. You can transfer your voting. All we're talking about is just transferring your speaking power to go to someone else. Someone who can speak on your behalf. You're determining who can speak on your behalf. And it can be anybody, any member. There's no restriction. It's just those 11 words cover that, cover those 5 concepts. What does that mean? That you do 3 steps. Elect representatives, then you measure that representation, and then you silence the zeros. You get them out of the room, they're gone. Continuing that process, you ignore anyone who's low RQ to whatever liking you have. If someone's an a-hole and is throwing feces around, you don't invite him inside the building. So he's left out because he threw feces, not because he's no longer a representative. You're recognizing reality, right? We're dealing with one-to-one representation. This is an actual thing that's happening. Why did I put the words on my face? So this is actually happening. So that's sort of it. So sorry. So I didn't finish the concept, which is nothing new in my world. So let me finish that concept of the one-to-one bore of money, the bore of donors. So when you donate money to the bore in general, when you donate money for a cause, for something to happen, you have say on that money. You have say. How much say do you have? So the people that give their money are empowered through one-to-one representation of each dollar. So each dollar they have, $100, you got 100 times as much voting power in the bore of donors as a guy who has $1 donation. And a guy with $1 million has 1 million times. But they've given up that money. You can't say, I'm going to give you $1 million and then take it back. No, you've given us $1 million. We've got you got a receipt for $1 million. That's our money. That's our money. You will have say in what to do with that money, sure. But, so the way that would work is for the budget. You would do that with each budget, right? So for that budget year, you're giving that $1 million. What are you going to do with that budget? And then you would lose that ability. You don't get that forever. It's not tied to your dollar. I mean, I guess you could tie it to your dollar, but the board will likely set up, see, this is what I mean. This is designing the drapes is what I call this. We're discussing things of what would happen if, 18 steps into utopia. I don't know. I don't know what people would do, but I assume they would set up the structure to be something that would be coherent and not just a guy gives you $1 million and now you have it in your account and you can't use it. I guess you could sit on the interest and you could use the interest. What if he dies? I mean, it doesn't make any sense, right? Someone gives $1 million and dies. Well, what? But he could have voted. I mean, what do you do about that? I mean, so at some point you have say in that session of the board donors, and then that's it. It encourages people to donate, but not to donate too much because then you're donating to try to override and stop something, but you're ending up donating to the board in the future because the next money, the money will be there left over. If it's left over, it's left over. It's all reality-based thinking, right? Everything is reality-based. So, you see the bore of donors? You can do it to where each person amount, the amount of money that you donate. So you're respecting everybody. And that means that, you can do it that way, or you can just raise money, right? So the bottom line is bores don't form at all if no one's interested. And if they're interested, they form, but they can't do anything because they're just voices. But every institution wants this. They don't want it. They don't want people speaking on their own behalf. Certainly. If they don't have to, they won't do it. But they want it because once you start speaking on your behalf, what are you? If you're the citizens of the United States, what do you care about? The United States. We don't want the United States to fail. See, if you're the board of Kentucky Fried Chicken, What do you care about? Kentucky Fried Chicken. You're members, you go to that restaurant. You buy your food there. You don't want Kentucky Fried Chicken to fail. You don't want it to have crappy food, bad service. You want it to be successful and stay there forever. In fact, be so successful that it makes more money because you want them to make money so they can charge less for the chicken, right? It's a cooperative effort. Life, everyone loves each other. We're loving, amazing homos. We can't, look, you can't survive by yourself. What is torture? What's the most torturous thing to do to a homo? Leave them alone in a cell. Sounds like a great creature. It wants to be with other homos. Homos like to be with homos. Yeah, we like each other. We don't want to kill each other for the most part. Much more than we want to kill each other. It's unreal. Let's allow people to get together into groups. Let's allow people to solve their own problems. Let's allow people to do the role, take on the role that governments have, so we don't need those government functions anymore. We can let those go and we can retire those functions, get those people retired, phase them out of those industries, stop getting people to go into an industry of manipulation and leeching off of society in a way that is not providing anything we need, but only taking for yourself. These government employees don't want to be leeches. They want to be providing something. There are other things that we can do and we'll pay them to do things. People are good. Homos are great. We want to function. We want to work. We want to feel like we're doing well. But currently we pay people to not do anything. And what are they supposed to do? Not take a free paycheck? We pay people to not do anything. And that's fine. That's how it is. They have to keep that job. They don't do anything. But they now feel bad. They don't want to be in this situation, but they have to. We are paying people to feel bad about taking our money for doing nothing. This doesn't make any sense, coming or going. It'd be better off just paying these people to go on vacation and enjoy themselves. You're not doing anything. You're not actually performing a function. Just take your pension and go home. Go. You get it. You get it free. Take all the money and you're fine. Take 3 years severance. I mean, it would be so worth it to everybody. You don't understand how much we could cut the budget. Oh, and then that's another one I need. The Bird budget reduction dividend. When we reduce the dividend of the budget, the amount we reduce it each year or each time the budget comes out, paychecks, actual checks of money are given out to each member. That amount of money that we saved is given to each member. So essentially, if it's wasteful, we're keeping that wasteful spending for 1 year. We're going to take that next year's wasteful spending, divide it amongst everybody as a reward for less government spending. We're now able to incentivize lowering the government. Currently, we incentivize raising it because you get on the take. You vote for more freebies for yourself, like more student loan forgiveness, because you want free stuff. So that's all chaotic across the board. Let's have it where each person is equal. And that's another concept we don't have, is the understanding that we're not family. We need to think egalitarian, not equity. Equity is for your family. We are egalitarian. We are each a member of the society. I mean, if anything, the wealthy have put in more, so they should have more say. But I'm saying just go with egalitarian. If we give out money to everyone gets a paycheck. That even the wealthy people. Why would they not get a paycheck if everyone else is getting a payment? Everyone get equal. Do you understand the bureaucracy necessary to determine who gets what? Now we're paying people in their health insurance to determine who doesn't get. How about everybody gets the same thing and that's it? Takes a lot off of the bureaucracy. We don't need to have as much work and effort. It's a lot more clear. Now we know you got it or you didn't. Now we know everyone deserves it. We're not investigating. Is this fraudulent? No, because everyone gets it. I mean, maybe if you're not a citizen and you're not supposed to get it, that would be the fraudulent. But we're narrowing down the wasteful nonsense that we don't need there. Anyway, these minutia, these laws that are minutia, these solutions that are minutia are nothing compared to one-to-one representation. If we get elected representation, if we can get that to happen, all you have to do is, so this is how we do it. Yeah, I guess I forgot to mention. I forgot to mention how we do this. So you elect representatives. How does that happen? Remember, it happens in your head, right? You're electing a representative. It's done. Now you tell people So if 4 million people are electing a representative in their head and we never learn about it, then I guess it would not come together. But if 4 million people, 1/60th of the population, over 1/60th, that's a significant portion. The point of significance is 1/60th, not 5%. 5% is like a modern made-up thing that's nonsensical. For 10,000 years, it was 1/60th. Okay, so 1.67% is what we're after. And 4 million covers that. If you get 4 million of us that are electing, like I elected Thomas Massey to report on the federal government, it's understood that I'm saying this as an American citizen. I've introduced that to the conversation. So, and I've said it's for 2026. So if you want to throw those three things in there, that's going above and beyond. But really all you got to do is say, if we were to form a body of elected representatives right now to report on the federal government, who would you choose? Because that's essentially what we're talking about. Now, little do they know, or you know maybe, that we are actually forming it. Remember, elected is chosen. Forming that means we're just reflecting what's already happened in people's heads actually. So we're starting to recognize each other's election. That's all we need to do. We need a process for that. That's measuring RQ. Once we measure RQ, we'll have this competition, what I call the Boer Wars. There's a competition of who can best represent in a way that is provable and includes everybody. There's going to be all kinds of variations, and you're dealing with the fascism that we live in today, where you can't say words and different things are illegal. You can't criticize certain groups. So there's all kinds of things we'll have to navigate and deal with, but that's where it is. So say out loud, you can have those conversations with people. Who would you elect if we were to do that? And then they say, oh, who? Well, the first thing they're going to say is, if they live in the United States, well, who can I choose from? Oh, okay, who are the pre-chosen candidates? How am I limited? So get them to understand, no, elect, just anybody. Elect, choose somebody. Who would you choose? Okay, so you elected Thomas Massey, or you elected whoever, right? And then maybe you could throw the word after choose. Maybe you just say choose. Who would you choose? Because everyone is really brainwashed. They think electing is something that is not about choosing. But so the first and easiest thing you can do is, like I said, use the word elect to mean a verb. Just use the word elect. Which cookie would you elect to have? I'll elect that cookie. Well, you elected that cookie, so it's already elected, and then you hand it to them. Okay, so anyway, but elected representation, you elect them, you get the 4 million people. Once 4 million people are talking about who they want to elect, they're electing. Once 4 million people are electing someone, they don't realize it necessarily. People will measure that. Once there's websites to measure it, it's over, because now the concept is out. Now the formatting of how to do this is out. And now you can copy and see, oh, that's how they do it. Oh, I can do that better. I can do that better. Once we're able to see, because we're homos, we have to see other people doing things. Once people see you electing, once your children see you electing out of your mouth and using the word elect to mean choosing and saying, oh yeah, well, we don't elect the representatives, but they're elected. The way you explain that to your child is, well, they're elected in that's what the label the government has for it. It's a label. Like if I call you Potato Head, then you are Potato Head, right? If I said, you're Potato Head, and then later I said, Potato Head gets a free sandwich. Do you get a free sandwich? You're damn right you get a free sandwich. You're Potato Head. We all know that. I mean, that's a label. It has nothing to do with what it is. It's just a label. When we named you, I don't know, you use your own. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you call a child a Potato Head? I don't know. I don't have children. See, if I had children, I would know how to talk to them. You're a Potato Head. You retarded dipshit. What the fuck is wrong with you? You just tell your kid, don't use that word anymore. So, that is a different approach. If your child uses elected representation to talk about the government, you immediately yank those pants down and you spank the hell out of them. You teach them. So however you teach them, with violence or torment or psychological manipulation. 4 million, that forms it. Then you have the Boer Wars, and then the cat's out of the bag. At some point, people realize. Now, what's going to happen here is the co-opting. The co-opting will happen to where someone big, like a Zuck or a Elon or any multi-billionaire, is top list. They can instantly do this. Any billionaire could do this. Any tens of millions, you've got tens of millions, because this is just how to form a website, really. And which one forms first, you know? Whoever forms the Boar, their version of the Boar first is and best. You need it to be, so what we can do is, and this is what we can do, is work out what are the social protocols. And so that's one of the things I want to work on is, that's what I find exciting. What is it, what's the social protocols? And so the idea of that so within your system, you can now click on a representative for a thing. There's a board, someone wants to form a board. You can say, then there's a list of board, right? How many people have elected in this board? You can list them by board. You know, there's all kinds of these things that would be worked out of the actual user interface of the website to determine who you're electing. Because you're electing a board for each purpose. And for the United States, there'd be lots of purposes, you know, hundreds, I guess. And that's the thing. There are some things they're very interested in, like military, you know, there's a dozen that are like just everyone's super involved. Major money's involved, major power, major influence on people's lives. Then there's other things that are not so important, like how to design nuts and bolts in the fucking military or some stupid shit. So, you know, there's whatever, but there's like 5 guys that, you know, so some boar are not forming, but they're listed as boar because they are technically a boar, right? So in other words, that's what I mean. I formed a board. That's the reality of the situation. I have formed a body of elected representatives to report on the federal government. We have 2 people that have already voted, decided, elected, chosen a person to speak on their behalf. So that's a real thing. That board, you're a part of that board. Everyone's a part of the board. You just don't know it. Do you see? Okay. Yeah, of course you do. Of course you see. So, I mean, do I need a talking puppet? I can talk to myself. I have a puppet I'm making. Okay, so super hot, and it's not even a hot day. It's already super hot in here. I don't know. I'm up for renewal, and it's not even 30. It is 30 degrees. That's not hot. That's hot, but it's like the minimal hot that there is. You want to learn Celsius? Okay, it's 30s is hot, 40s hot as hell, and we get that in Austin. Then there's the 20s, which is a comfort zone. So low 20s is cool, high 20s is warm, right? Remember 29 is 1 degree off from hot, 30's hot, but it's low hot. Then there's the teens, which is cold. And then zeros, single digits, very cold. Below that, it's freezing. 0 is freezing. Did you know that? There are people that don't know that. Jimmy Fallon did not know that 0 is freezing in Celsius. And 100 is boiling. That's why everyone in the world uses it except the United States, in like an island. Meanie Wiley. So what else would happen? The boar forms, the boar does its thing. The co-opting, right? That's where the big guys, the big guns step in and they co-opt. So we want to form the boar as much as possible and say, this is what's required of a boar. They're going to co-opt anyway. And then we'll say, well, that's not a boar, that's a boar, that's not a boar. There might be some say. The boar that actually exists might have some say over that, maybe not. I don't really put a lot of faith in that because really people are they're using Facebook or whatever, and you're just using it. You're like, what? A new tab? What? I elect to people? Okay, I elect. And they don't know what it is, but like it's self-schooling, self-sustaining, self-schooling, self-spreading. This is a completely voluntary action that you can do, which will virally, radically change the entire universe for all homos. For all intelligent life that comes in contact with the homos. We can spread this through the galaxy. So the hooch the malubi, scrub the blabba. I'm kind of sick of talking about this, guys. Come on. What is it? The co-opting. The co-opting happens, and then then you have the Boer, the co-opting revolt cycle. So let's say Musk takes X, and boom, he's a savior of humanity. He is, undoubtedly. There will never be another. I'm not saying he's already. If he does this, first of all, he's a god to free speech. Thank you. But he will be the absolute God of all humans if he is the one that does it. Whoever does this is going to be the guy. This is going to be our guy. So let's say he does it. He's got that in. He's saved forever. He is exactly going to build the tallest statue of him no matter what. But he will eventually, because he's not for democracy. If you see the way he talks, he's for absolute tyranny, monarchy, the delusion of democracy. He talks about vox populi, and he'll say, "Oh, the people have spoken," and when it's people within 24 hours of his own followers have spoken, and just those people who happen to follow him like fanatically. So that is a terrible person to be in charge of any kind of democracy. So he does not, in his heart, want anything to do with democracy, which is fine. You don't have to be a person that understands that. We all perceive different things. He's not seeing it. He will eventually, and in his heart, he wants it and that kind of thing, But if he thinks about it, he will. So, and so he might change, right? Meanwhile, typically though, no matter what, it's going to be an Elon-centered scenario, not what we, the people, want. So there's going to be a disengagement. What do you call it? A dissonance or something, that happens to where people are operating in this, but their heart's not into it. As soon as another billionaire, likely, right? Because sadly, we will not be able to. I mean, well, I don't know though. See, this is where you don't know what's going to happen, because the Boer could form, and we're like, boom, we're hive-minded. We're all operating. We're building and pooling our wealth and investing in things, and now it's just like giant Bitcoin farming, or who knows what, right? So this could be a thing that completely dominates and just starts making decisions, and everything is what the people want. If not, this guy takes over. A rival will say, "I'll take these guys that are not happy, bring them over here," or everyone's going to have their own board. So everyone would have their own board, but one will be the prime board that everyone's a part of, because that's where the real conversation is happening. And here's the thing: you don't know what it's going to be. It could be, bikini contest 2025.com. That just happens to be where everyone meets and talks about everything in the fucking universe. All the homos meet at that. All the humans are definitely on bikinicontest.com. We're all there. If that's the place that we're all there doing one-to-one, that is the de facto best bore for getting information from, right? You can doubt it. You can say it's corrupt or something like that. But if we're measuring it correctly, and that's how it's actually happening, that's the best one to be with, indisputably. We see, right? You see the power of having more people involved. You're getting a better, accurate number. Like if you got 500 people that you're representing, that's not a good sample. That's how we do polling. We take a very small percentage of people, maybe a couple hundred, and then say, "Oh, that's what everyone thinks." That's extrapolating. It's never accurate. It's not even the people speaking. That's another issue together. The polls that we do today are not polls. They're not every person, but they are not us speaking. We're answering questions. Just like when we choose candidates, we're answering a question of these people, who would you choose? Oh, of those people, that's not me speaking. That's me answering a question. And they said, of these three people, who would you choose? So see the difference there. Sorry if anyone's trying to communicate with me. I doubt anyone would. Oh, that's right. I did close it. Okay, so I'm going to have to open that up again. Tools. Okay, what is it? Talks. Damn it. Oh, good. Beau's morning rant. This was originally listed as Beau's morning rant, if it is even up still. And yeah, we got nothing. Good. So whatever that is. Oh, stop. Oh my God. Just get over yourself. Oh, okay. Why would you? Jeez Louise. Okay. Look, you should be able to fix buttons to, docks. When you dock something, it should be able to slide, and that's it. Keep it at that, please. There we go. Can we lock a dock? Do I not know how to lock a dock? That's what's going on. This is how I have to do the process. I have to realize, fuck off. That is not what I wanted. Oh, so that kills it. No wonder. I hate you so much. Okay. So you put it in here and you lock a dock and you squeeze it closed. That's fine. Whatever. Okay. I don't matter. Doesn't matter. Not that anyone would watch this all the way through, but maybe I can use this for things. This is not even a good lighting. I don't know what this is. Okay. But I want to make sure I get this process done because these are the things we never get to. I'm always talking to someone about the meaning of words because they don't know what a word is. And that's it. The conversation ends there. They don't ever get to the point where we're talking about the co-opting cycle and the competition of Boer. That's part of the Boer Wars, I guess. But the Boer Wars, I would think, is like the beginning chaos. Well, that's what I mean. So it is part of the Boer Wars. There is a beginning chaos of where things are worked out. And part of that is that later phase of the billionaires are involved and they're competing with each other. And then there's separate independent Boer that are forming. And so then the issue is, can you become a member of each one? You want to be exclusively a member. That's the whole point of, measurement, that we are. So you're always measuring of RQ to the whole of what? Adult Americans is the first Boer that we're going to form, adult Americans. I don't see it being any other way. Although there's countries that have all kinds of variations and stuff. And they might be actual people that come together. Like, in other words, Jews could form a Boer very easily because they're all a coherent people anyway. They all talk to each other. They're all community. Black people could do it as well. Anybody could do it. But Jews really have Jews and blacks are very active structures. Jews have more of an institutional structure, and blacks have more of a connection, a personal connection with each other more. So actually blacks would do better in the United States. When we talk about black people, we're talking about US blacks. We're not talking about sub-Saharan Africans in the world. We're talking about the 3% that are black people. So that's a very confusing thing to people. Goes with, what do words mean? Words mean what the user thinks they mean when they use them. When I say black, it means whatever I mean. Am I talking about a color? How is it any other way? Anyway, I don't understand. If you need this, you need some memes. Does that help? Oh, look at me. I'm circle. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so wait, hold on. I need to test this video thing. Hold on, let me see. Sorry about the video.
And you had some very good people in that group.
All right, so that's interesting. Doc, Boer War, final Boer War, the final Boer, the Boer World War, the World Boer War, the World Boer War, the final Boer will develop, I guess, or whatever. So, but you would be a part of, so your typical life, once the understanding of one-to-one representation is out there, whatever it's called, no one will remember me, but once it's out there, once we understand, oh, this is elected representation, this is how you do it, you're going to be able to, you'll be a part of these Boer, maybe a dozen different Boers your whole life, and then tons of temporary Boers. There'll be something that happens at an airport where everyone has to form a Boer. This flight is forming a Boer. There's a gate Boer. Whatever the issue is, it just behooves us all to do that. And when we have that ability to form a group, certainly any accident or something happens, this could be Boer formed because it's a place. Where do we go from here immediately? We need something to happen immediately. Currently, whoever does something. The big strong man does something. Okay. Well, meanwhile, those people are going to be doing their things. People are putting out fires. Other people are going to go, okay, wait a minute. Let's form a Boer so we do this right. And then we sort through, and then there's that. And then, of course, it's the competition. What if you form a board and you're all just discussing bureaucratic things while people put out the real fire? Well, you never accomplished anything, and everybody realizes that's a waste of time. So you're going to eventually realize that it's about getting out there and fixing the fire, the math works out because you're including every person. That's the math works out. You can't not have, use RQ. The first concept, RQ. Measure the members rep. How many people voted for Donald Trump divided by the total members? 30% is his RQ. His RQ is 30%. Not a majority, not a mandate. If that's a mandate, then that is a weak mandate. That's not much of a mandate. Then a mandate doesn't mean much, and that's probably how we should view it with government. Okay, anyway, that's it. I've done enough practice and rehearsals and things and whatever. Thank you. And if I hate you too much, just remember, hate is my love language. If I've shared any ideas, remember these ideas are yours now. These are your ideas. So you had the idea. Yeah, I had the idea that I shared with you. Now you have the idea. Because guess what? I learned the idea from observing and people helping me. Okay, so it's not like this is my idea entirely. I had everybody, my mom and dad raised me, all the resources put into me by the community, everyone keeping me alive, everyone helping me and being positive along the way. So this is your idea. This is our idea together. All humans own all ideas. You own any idea in your head. This idea that there's intellectual property. You can't own a concept that's in your head. You can't own a poem. You can't say that poem. No, you don't own it. It doesn't make any sense. You own these ideas. Go out and use them. Elect representatives. Use elect to be a verb that is choosing. Elect representatives to specifically report on the federal government. Choose a person to specifically represent yourself in the federal government as to report on the federal government. Ask your friends, who would they choose to report on the federal government? All we need to do is get people to say what's going on. Then they will realize, 87% of us agree on 87% of the things. Guess what? Those things should happen. So there's going to be a list of things that need to happen. There are going to be people that try to run for office and lie. There are going to be people that do it. I mean, they're going to be heroes. There are going to be people that, and then we'll take those people up a notch. If you're voting for one of those people, you're like, oh, good. Now we want you to do this. And you'll go, no, I don't want to do that. So you're going to learn. You're going to drop off, go to other people. But it's open. You have the ability to choose another person. If your candidate is corrupt, maybe you're stupid and you don't know. You get tricked every time. If your candidate is corrupt, you can choose a different candidate. You can say, I'll never choose that again. Today, you cannot do that. We don't have elected representation. You have no choice. You do have choice, but you have not, the number is 0.000000001 choice. And okay, you do have some choice, but I'm saying I'm rounding down to zero. So I'm saying you have no choice. I'm rounding down to zero, right? I know technically 0.00001% is having a choice. I get it. That's true.